Yo, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer and welcome back for another video. Today we're talking about who owns the most silver in the world. These numbers are absolutely incredible. The link will be in the description. But anyways, first we went into how much silver is produced in the world. A couple days ago I made a video talking about the global silver production. Then the next day I made a video talking about why we need so much silver. And now we're going into who owns the most silver. So, this whole video is kind of branching off of one another, and I think it's a really good way to follow suit on each of these videos. It's almost like a three-part series of how, why, and who, because it is interesting stuff to know, and these numbers are absolutely incredible, and I think you're going to find this video interesting, so make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you already haven't. I post daily videos, so stay tuned. But anyways, this is an article from Bullion. So who owns the most silver bullion today? This is a second part of a two-part series examining some of the biggest silver stackers of all time. In part one, we reviewed the 3 past silver bullion buyers who at various times acquired the most silver. In this part, we examined today's documented silver holdings and sales records to assess where the largest silver holdings currently reside. So this is up to date. Today's total transparent silver investment fund and exchange depository now hold just over 920 million ounces of silver, close to 1 billion ounces of silver. That may sound like a lot, but compared to a world within over 260 trillion in verifiable assets, about 20 billion in silver value, or 1 part per 13,000, is next to nothing. Silver is a very small market indeed. That's a really interesting way to put it. I'm glad they put that in there, because that really kind of does, it allows us to wrap our head around, how much silver really is out there, and it really is a small market if you really think about it. Where the biggest bullion dealers or people that hold the most silver, owning over 920 million ounces, is still a fraction. And that shows how big the market is, but also how small it can be as well. But anyways, in progression from today's largest known silver hoards is third. So number 3 is JPMorgan. Their silver warehouse inventory used on the COMEX. Second is iShares ETF called SLV, which JPMorgan is custodian. And first is a surprising yet often overlooked growing entrant in today's silver bullion stack fray. More on them all later. The first place one is something you would never guess. I'm sure you won't guess it, and if you do, you're pretty clever. But it's really interesting. So I would have thought JPMorgan would be one of the probably top 1 or 2, maybe some other big corporation or somewhere that I've never heard of. But I definitely thought JPMorgan would be higher up in the ranks. But anyways, so let's go. And it shows a chart of the JPMorgan Chase depository silver stocks. So around the same time, silver bullion was hitting its near $50 in high. Late April 2011, that was when silver was $50, obviously. JPMorgan began stockpiling silver bullion in its COMEX warehouse, and this shows how many ounces. It's above 90 million right there, so it's 95,372,962 ounces. The chart also shows the turquoise color is eligible stocks, and the green is registered stocks. So although the commercial bank has occasionally allowed registered silver stocks to be withdrawn, the near 6-year trend from nothing to now is over 95 million ounces, and it's steady. So you can see this starting from 2011 all the way up, and they just have a steady trend of accumulating more ounces. You guys can check out this. I'm gonna kind of skim through it for the sake of the video, but if you want to look at the more detailed stuff, looking at what all the lines mean and stuff, link will be in the description. I just want to kind of go over who owns the most. But so number 2 is the ETF iShares SLV silver stockpile. Now this is paper stuff, but I guess you can technically say it's in bullion because you could trade it in, and for some extent, I guess that is the same type of market. But anyways, before we examine the overall silver stockpiles of SLV, let us acquaint ourselves with the named parties involved in this silver ETF, which is an exchange-traded fund. The SLV sponsors iShares Delaware Trust sponsor, and the SLV trustees of Bank of New York Mellon. So the SLV custodian, which oversees the trust silver bullion stockpile, is JPMorgan Chase. So JPMorgan actually is the custodian of this, which means all the transactions that go in and out, they have to go through this custodian. Like, just like if you have a if you have like a 401, or you want to transfer your stuff in from Bitcoin to something, there's a custodian that you have to go through, that does all the behind the scenes stuff for you, that you can't take it out yourself. So it's just something to kind of think about. But anyways, it's interesting that JPMorgan is the custodian for this trust, for this ETF. But anyways, I'm not gonna go over like all this, that the little details, because it really doesn't matter for the sake of this video. So how much silver bullion does SLV have? Since launching in late April 2006, the SLV Trust has accumulated over 338 million ounces of silver bullion. So you can see this chart, and this is a huge chart. They have to make the numbers so small because it's so high. And 1 ton equals 32,150 troy ounces. So interestingly, unlike the popular gold ETF, silver spot price declines from the 2011 peak, and have not really reduced the amount of silver bullion JPMorgan is custodian for SLV. So number one is private silver bullion stackers. So the highest amount, the most silver that's being produced and held and owned is from private bullion stackers, people like me and you. And that's really interesting because we've gone over some huge numbers: 95 million ounces from JPMorgan, 338 million ounces from the SLV ETF, and now this is incredible that private bullion stackers own more than that. Perhaps you have heard or seen some silver bullion buyers at times referring to themselves as silver stackers. The growing trend of physical silver bullion coin and bullion bar buying has been rather steady since 2008 financial crisis. Many of today's silver bullion buyers are able to sleep better knowing they have some direct wealth outside of the banking and financial system. This is stuff we talk about all the time. Often, silver bullion buyers would argue that the bank and financial sector still requires real structural reforms before trust within their wealth that is merited. So they're kind of just saying why people buy how they get into it and why they get into it. But anyways, so the demand for silver bullion was a mere approximate 6% of the annual world silver supplies for the last 2 years preceding 2008 financial crisis. But the global financial crisis appears to have created a crowd of modern-day Hunt brothers who are actively buying and stacking silver bullion. So they're saying that this financial crisis drove people to buy silver, and that's so true. That's what I talk about. When anytime people are fearful of the government or don't really trust the government or just a little iffy with the banking system or whatever, they go to gold and silver because that's real money that they feel they can control and they own, the physical bullion. And that's really important to look at in the future. We have the 2020 presidential election, coming soon, and this stuff is, especially all the riots that go on and all the, just the chaos that happens. This stuff really does put people in a panicky scare. Like over the 2000s, they had Y2K, the recession, September 11th. Stuff like that really does kickstart people to be really fearful of the government, and they always go to silver and gold. And that's kind of what this is saying, that nowadays, people from that financial crisis, they're modern day Hunt brothers, and now they're actively buying and selling. Just look at a fourfold demand in physical silver bullion bar and buying since the Lehman Brothers collapse, nearly taking the whole financial system down with it. Over 1,500,000,000 ounces of silver bullion have been purchased by individual silver investors since the 2008 financial crisis. It is highly likely that almost none of the silver bullion has made its way back into our world scrap recycling supplies. And that is really important, what I want to mention, because gold is almost always recycled and scrapped. Your wedding bands, your gold chains, your necklaces, your earrings, gold is always, recycled because it's profitable. People always take their coins or their grandma's jewelry or whatever the case is. They recycle it, they scrap it, they remelt it. Silver, on the other hand, it's usually not being recycled. It's not really profitable to scrap all the silver out of a laptop or a cell phone. Gold, it can be though. So people do it with gold, but with silver they don't. So a lot of silver is being lost. is being lost at a lot higher rates than gold is. So even though gold to silver is coming out the ground roughly 9 to 1, a lot of silver is being lost, so that ratio is actually a lot lower. Something to think about, and I'm glad they made that point here. But anyways, so now they're talking about the trend comparing to the dollar price. But this is also a chart I wanted to show you guys. So the world physical silver bar and coin demand. So from 2000 to 2007, the total silver bar and coin demand was estimated to be 375 million ounces versus 1,422 million ounces. So that's 4 times multiplier. That's 4 times more. It's 4 times larger from 2007, 2008, or 2000, 2007, from 2008, 2015. 4 times as much. So we are rapidly growing. You see, ever since silver, or ever since that financial crisis kicked off, people have really seen the value in gold and silver, and that's really, and actually silver. This is all silver stuff too. That's even better. So no, we're not just talking about gold and silver. This is a silver chart. So people actually seeing value in silver, the undervalued metal as well. And that's really important because us silver stackers know how beneficial silver is, but I feel like a lot of other people don't. But these scales kind of show the, on a larger scale, the bigger picture, how much is really being, collected out there, and it's more than I actually thought. The silver stacking YouTube community is pretty small, but hopefully more people will start to get on trend with that as well. I'm trying to do my part and pump out information like this and make videos to bring stackers in. And I know you guys are liking these videos and subscribing and supporting channels like this. Not only me, but all the other several channels that are making daily videos and putting out good silver stacking content out there as well, to spread the word on silver, and how undervalued it is and how beneficial it can be for the everyday person. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, the link will be in the description, so if you want to check it out, I kind of skipped over some stuff, so if you want to check out the finer details, you can check it out. Make sure to smack that like button, subscribe if you already haven't. I post daily videos. I'll probably post another video today, so stay tuned for that as well. This was Silver Slayer. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you guys soon. Peace.